In the deep southern United States, there's a legend about the transformative power of music. It's said that certain melodies have the ability to conjure spirits from the past and the future, transporting listeners to another realm. However, this power comes with a warning. It can also attract malevolent forces that seek to exploit its energy. The story begins in Clarksdale, Mississippi, in October 1932. Sammy Moore, a young musician, is seen driving to a church, his face battered and bruised, with claw marks etched into his skin. He's clutching a broken guitar neck, a symbol of his passion and his pain. Sammy's father, Jedediah, a pastor, tries to intervene, urging his son to abandon his musical pursuits and seek redemption for his sinful ways. But Sammy is resolute, holding onto his guitar neck like a lifeline. Meanwhile, Sammy's cousins, Elijah and Elias Moore, also known as Smoke and Stack, are returning to Clarksdale after a stint in Chicago. The twin brothers have a reputation for being cunning and resourceful, having stolen money from notorious gangsters and invested it in an old sawmill. Their plan is to convert it into a juke joint, a haven for the black community to gather, socialize, and enjoy live music. Smoke and Stack are determined to make their venture a success, and they begin to assemble a team of trusted allies. They recruit Sammy, who is eager to showcase his musical talents, and Cornbread, a former cotton plantation worker who's been hired to provide security. They also invite Delta Slim, a seasoned blues singer, to perform at their juke joint. As the twins prepare for the grand opening, they encounter a range of characters who will shape the course of their lives. There's Mary, a childhood friend who's been like a sister to them, and Pearline, a married woman who catches Sammy's eye. There's also Annie, Smoke's estranged wife, who practices voodoo and claims to have kept the twins safe from harm. However, not everyone in Clarksdale is welcoming of the twins' new venture. A racist couple, Bert and Joan, are suspicious of the juke joint and its patrons. They're approached by an Irishman named Remick, who offers to trade them gold in exchange for protection from Injuns. Unbeknownst to Bert and Joan, Remick has a dark secret. He's a vampire. As the sun sets over Clarksdale, the twins' juke joint is abuzz with activity. The crowd is electric, and Sammy's music has the power to transport them to another world. The spirits of black musicians from different eras and cultures begin to manifest, joining in the celebration. The joint appears to be on fire, but the music continues, drawing in Remick, Bert, and Joan like moths to a flame. The vampires disguise themselves as musicians, offering to play for the crowd and pay for their entry. But Smoke is wary of their intentions, and he refuses to let them in. Mary, however, is charmed by their music and decides to investigate further. She soon discovers that Remick is not what he seems, and she narrowly escapes his clutches. As the night wears on, Cornbread is lured away by Bert and Joan, while Sammy and Pearline succumb to their desires in a private room. The stage is set for a confrontation between the twins, their friends, and the forces of darkness that seek to destroy their dreams. In this reimagined version of the story, the core elements of the original article are preserved, but the narrative is expanded and rephrased to avoid copyright concerns. The characters, settings, and plot twists are still present, but they're presented in a way that's distinct and original. The chaos unfolds as Mary returns to the juke joint, her intentions unclear. She attempts to seduce Smoke, but her attention soon shifts to Stack, and they retreat to a private room. Meanwhile, Smoke deals with a violent patron who has slashed another man with a razor. When Smoke asks Sammy to fetch Stack, he hesitates, not wanting to interrupt his cousin's intimate encounter. As Smoke investigates, he discovers Mary's true nature. She's a vampire, and she's attacked Stack. Smoke tries to save his cousin, but it's too late. Stack succumbs to Mary's bite. Enraged, Smoke shoots Mary, but she survives and vows to exact revenge on everyone. She escapes, leaving Smoke to mourn the loss of his cousin. The juke joint is now a scene of utter devastation. The patrons are gone, except for a small group of survivors: Smoke, Sammy, Annie, Slim, Pearline, and Grace. Cornbread returns, demanding to be let in, but Annie senses something is amiss. When Cornbread offers money, Smoke tries to take it, but Cornbread's vampirized state is revealed. Smoke shoots him in the face, and he flees. As the group tries to make sense of the chaos, Stack returns to life as a vampire, bursting out of the closet and fleeing after Annie splashes him with garlic juice. The vampires begin to multiply, turning the other patrons, including Bo, into their undead ranks. The scene outside the juke joint is one of horror. A massive crowd of vampires gathers, led by Remick, Mary, Stack, Bert, and Joan. Remick reveals that the brothers were set up by Hogwood, the Grand Dragon of the KKK, who sought to eliminate them and their patrons. However, Remick's motivations are different. He's drawn to Sammy's musical talents, which he believes can conjure the spirits of his lost people. Remick offers the group a chance to become vampires, promising them immortality and an escape from racial persecution. The group refuses, and Remick threatens to harm Lisa, Grace, and Bo's teenage daughter. The survivors prepare for a final showdown, arming themselves with stakes, guns, and garlic. As the vampires approach, the group readies themselves for battle. The ensuing confrontation is intense and violent. Grace charges at Bo with a stake, setting them both on fire. Slim attracts a crowd of vampires, while Pearline is fatally wounded in front of Sammy. Most of the vampires are staked or blown up, but Annie is bitten and eventually killed by Smoke to prevent her from turning. As the battle rages on, Smoke and Stack engage in a fierce fight, while Sammy tries to escape Remick's clutches outside. Remick's face is scarred, and he reveals that he attacked Sammy earlier. However, Sammy uses the twins' father's guitar to jam a silver part into Remick's skull. Smoke arrives just in time to stake Remick through the chest as the sun rises. The aftermath is one of devastation and loss. The vampires burst into flames, and the survivors are left to pick up the pieces. Smoke knows the clan is closing in and orders Sammy to escape quickly. As the clansmen arrive, Smoke prepares to defend himself, using a Tommy gun and a grenade to take them down. Hogwood, the last clansman standing, offers Smoke money for his life, but Smoke refuses, pumping him full of lead. As Smoke dies, he sees Annie's spirit and their child, finally at peace. Sammy returns to the church, but he refuses to give up music, despite his father's pleas. He drives north, the guitar still in his hand, as the story jumps forward in time. Years later, an elderly Sammy, now a blues musician, performs in 1992. Stack and Mary find him, and they share a warm reunion. Stack reveals that Smoke couldn't kill him and ordered him to stay away from Sammy. Stack offers to turn Sammy into a vampire, allowing him to live longer and continue playing music, but Sammy declines, feeling that he's seen enough of the world. As Sammy plays one last song for Stack and Mary, he reflects on the past, admitting that he still has nightmares from that fateful night. However, he also acknowledges that the time before the sun went down was the best day of his life. Stack agrees, sharing that it was the last time he saw his brother and the sun, and the last time he truly felt free. The story concludes with a sense of closure, as the characters look back on their experiences and the music that brought them together.